Everybody, and welcome again to the press conference. This is the 1-year anniversary of the Toyota Research Institute. Our job is to explore emerging opportunities, to identify gaps in research, and to move in new directions. Now, sometimes we find dead ends as well, but we always move quickly to explore great ideas. In the 1 year of our existence, we've assembled an incredible team. We've hired more than 100 people. We've added 50 more people from Toyota Motor Corporation, and our plans are to hire another 100 people this coming year. TRI's mission is focused on artificial intelligence. It includes 4 goals. First, we're dedicated to greatly enhancing vehicle safety, and someday creating a car that is incapable of causing a crash, regardless of the abilities of the driver. Second, our goal is to greatly increase mobility access for those who presently cannot drive. Third, we plan to heavily invest in robotics to move people not only across town, but also within their home from room to room and help them to age in place. And finally, we have a goal to accelerate discovery in material science by applying techniques from artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, research is our middle name, and it's what we do. Much of it, but not all of it, with Stanford in Palo Alto, California, with the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and with MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We recently opened, in fact, in Massachusetts, our permanent facility that you see over here. Now, before we go any further, I need to remind you that I used to be a professor. And of course, once you're a professor, you're always a professor. And so I always enjoyed, of course, the process of doing research, but I also love to give lectures. And so I'm giving you a lecture today, and there's even going to be a short test towards the end of the remarks to see how you do. Actually, more seriously, my remarks today reflect on findings from a few key research projects that we've been engaged with, both ourselves and our partners over this past year. It's framing a question that is specifically designed to offer us clarity and to provoke a discussion throughout the industry of just how complicated this business of autonomous mobility really is. This question that I'd like to discuss with you today is as follows. How safe is safe enough? Society tolerates a lot of human error. We are, after all, only human. But we expect machines to be much better than us. Last year, there were about 35,000 fatalities on U.S. highways involving vehicles that were controlled by human drivers. Every single one of those deaths is a terrible tragedy. So what if we could create a fully autonomous car that was as safe on average as a human driver? Would that be safe enough? In other words, would we accept 35,000 traffic fatalities in the U.S. at the hands of a machine instead of a person? Would we accept it if it resulted in greater convenience, in less traffic, and less impact on the environment, but the number of fatalities was the same? Now, rationally, perhaps you'd think the answer should be yes. But emotionally, would we accept it from a machine? We at TRI don't think that it's likely that being as safe as a human being is actually an acceptable standard. So let me progress. What if the machine was twice as safe as a human-driven car? If 17,500 lives were lost in the U.S. every year at the hands of a machine, would we accept this kind of autonomy? Emotionally, we don't think so. Historically, human beings have shown nearly zero tolerance for injury or death caused by flaws inside of the machine. And yet we know, as wonderful as artificial intelligence is, artificial intelligence systems are inevitably flawed. And the ones that our autonomous cars will depend on are presently and unavoidably imperfect. So again, I ask the question, how safe is safe enough? I know that in the very near future, this question will need to be answered. And we don't yet know for sure what that answer is. It's not even clear how that standard will be devised and by whom. Will the standard be local, or will it be the same everywhere in the world? It's a very hard question. So let me shift to a standard where we actually do have some answers. It's SAE International J3016. It was revised just last September, and it defines 5 levels of automation. I want to review this standard with you in a typical university lecture, because there continues to be a lot of confusion within the media about it, and I think it's important that everyone really have a common vocabulary and understanding. All car makers are aiming to achieve level 5 autonomy. In level 5 autonomy, the car can drive fully autonomously under any traffic or weather condition at any place and at any time. No human being required. I need to make it perfectly clear. It's a wonderful, wonderful goal. But none of us in the automobile or IT industries are close to achieving true level 5 autonomy. We are not even close. And collectively, our current prototype autonomous cars can handle many situations, but there are still many others that are beyond current machine competence. And it's going to take many years of machine learning and many more miles than anyone has logged, both in simulated and real-world testing, to achieve the perfection that's required for level 5 autonomy. Luckily, there's good news, because SAE defined not only level 5, but level 4. And level 4 is almost as good as level 5, but it turns out that it will have a much shorter timetable for arrival. Level 4 is a fully autonomous car that only works in specific operational design domains. An example of such a domain is M-City, which is a test facility that exists near the University of Michigan and that we and other car manufacturers use as a test site. We can design at that test site with various restrictions to test level 4. It could include limited areas of operation, limited speeds, limited times of the day, limited weather, any one of those things. So when it comes to company A or company B or company T saying that it hopes to have autonomous vehicles on the road by the early 2020s, it's level 4 that's the technology that is probably being referred to. TRI believes it's very likely that a number of manufacturers will have level 4 autonomous systems operating in specific locations within a decade. And level 4 autonomy will be especially attractive and adaptable for companies that offer mobility as a service, because ride sharing and car sharing and inner city last mile models match up and may well offer the best application for bringing level 4 to the market sooner. Moving down the ladder, let's look at level 3. Again, to make sure that we're all sharing the same vocabulary. Level 3 is a lot like level 4, but with an autonomous mode that at times may need to hand off control to a human driver who may not be paying attention at the time. Handoff, of course, is the operative term and a difficult challenge. In level 3, as defined by the SAE, the autonomy must ensure that if it needs to hand off control of the car, it will give the driver sufficient warning. Additionally, level 3 must also ensure that it will always detect any condition that requires such a handoff. Because in level 3, the driver is allowed to disengage and is not required to oversee the autonomy. Instead, they may engage fully in other tasks, like reading a book, checking your email, looking at your phone. The term that SAE uses when the vehicle system can't handle a particular dynamic driving task is a request to intervene. And so the challenge lies in how long it takes for a human driver to disengage from texting or from reading once the autonomy requests this kind of a fallback. It also depends on whether the autonomy system can absolutely ensure that it will never miss a situation where a handoff is required. Now, considerable research shows that the longer a driver is disengaged in the task of driving, the longer it takes for that driver to reorient and get back into driving. Furthermore, at 65 miles an hour, the car travels around 100 feet every second. That's a long distance. It means that to give a disengaged driver, let's say 15 seconds of warning, at that speed, the system has to spot trouble 1,500 feet away, or around 5 football fields ahead. That's an extremely hard guarantee for a level 3 system to provide, and it's very difficult to achieve. Now, regardless of the speed, a lot can happen in 15 seconds. So Picking that as a time to reorient the driver, ensuring that is very, very difficult. And it means that it may even be possible that level 3 is as difficult to accomplish as level 4. So let me again, by way of sharing our vocabulary, bring us down to level 2. Level 2 is perhaps the most controversial right now because it's already here, it's already functioning in some cars on public roads. In level 2, a vehicle handoff to a human driver can occur at any time with only a second or two of warning. It means the human driver must be able to react mentally and physically at a moment's notice. Even more challenging is the requirement for the level 2 human driver to always supervise the operation of the autonomy, taking over control when the autonomy fails to see danger ahead. If you want to understand level 2, you must remember that drivers must always monitor the autonomy, sort of like tapping on the brake to disengage adaptive cruise control when we, as a driver, see debris in the road that the adaptive cruise control sensor doesn't detect. This will happen in level 2 systems, and we must never forget it. Human nature, not surprisingly, remains one of our biggest concerns at TRI. There are indications that many drivers may either undertrust or overtrust the system. When someone overtrusts a level 2 system's capabilities, they may mentally disconnect their attention from the driving environment and wrongly assume that level 2 systems are more capable than they actually are. We at TRI worry that overtrust can accumulate over many miles of hands-free driving at level 2. And paradoxically, the less frequent the handoffs occur, the worse the tendency to overtrust may become. There's also evidence that some drivers may deliberately test the system's limits. They essentially may misuse the autonomy in a way that it was not intended to be used. So we need to think a lot about situational